Our first one is this idea of the environment to act. A lot of schools have taken this idea of learner agency and said, well, what agency is all about? It's about students making choices, and it is. It's about students deciding they want to do this instead of this. It's about students deciding that I want the world to be this way, not that way. And it is about all those things. But without a deep, rigorous understanding of what agency is truly all about, what happens next is that some schools have taken that idea of choice and said, okay, what we'll do is we will give students choice. We'll let them decide if they want to do their assignment this way or this way, if they want to study this topic or that topic. We'll involve them in school councils, decision-making bodies in the school, so they can decide whether the school does this with their money or this with their money. And these are all good ideas, and I don't want to suggest for a moment that we shouldn't be doing that. But this idea of giving students voice and choice, what it can sometimes do is, rather than changing the student, all it does is changes the environment. Now, I'm going to say that again. If we want to help students develop learner agency, the important part is that the student is changed. If all we are doing is giving them the choice, giving them an environment in which they can make that choice, then we're not really changing the students. And in fact, I've seen this described in official documents, like national level documents, where we talk about wanting to give students a sense of agency. A sense of agency. I'm a little bit concerned about that idea of giving students a sense of agency. It's almost like it's pretend. And if we're giving students choices that they were already capable of making, then my question becomes, are we giving them, let me talk about this to start with. Most of us have seen students develop like this, that in the beginning growth is easy and then it sort of plateaus off like this. And this is a perfectly normal part of learning. This area down here we call our comfort zone, and this area up here we call our performance zone. And our comfort zone and performance zone are full of those things that we've already got the abilities to do. They're full of the things that we've already mastered, but importantly, they are full of those things that I call easy things you haven't done yet. The world is full of easy things that you haven't done yet. Things that you could do easily if you were just given the opportunity to do it or the need arose. For example, as I look across to the pictures over here, the screen that I'm looking at, how many of you know your 13 times tables? I'm just looking. One person went, oh yeah, a little bit. How many of you could know them by this time tomorrow? Yeah, you all could. It's an easy thing that you haven't done yet. Our challenge is that when we talk about developing agency, what we're talking about is not doing easy things. It's about taking on those difficult things. And they occur up here in our learning zone. Now, you might have heard this called the zone of proximal development. Who's heard it called the zone of proximal development? Yeah, I've never seen a child proximally develop personally. I've seen them learn, so I call it a learning zone, but it's exactly the same thing. Now, the thing is that down here, we already have agency over these things, as long as we have the opportunity. As long as the environment changes, we will be able to impact things down here. But up here, beyond our current ability, we have no agency. Right at this present moment, the challenges that are beyond your current abilities, you have no agency over. And unless you're capable of changing your current abilities, which is what we're going to talk about towards the end of this section, all the things up here will remain outside your current abilities. So if the sort of choices we're giving students in the name of helping them have agency in the school are all down here, My question has to be, are we giving them power to choose or merely the permission to choose? Because if we're only giving them permission to choose things they've already got the capability to do, then we're not really developing their agency at all. Remember that in my definition here, in that definition there, one of the key elements was that we develop agency particularly in the face of challenges. Not when students are confronted with easy things, when they're confronted with difficult things, things that are beyond their current ability. Because it's those things that they're going to confront in the world outside of school. And they're going to need to be the ones that step up and say, this is beyond me at the moment, but I can become the person who can. And that's why it's really important for us to recognise, and the title of today's presentation is that we can't give students agency. If the work we're doing in schools around learner agency is a conversation about what teachers do, it's a conversation about the structures we change in our school, if it's what we are doing to students, then I don't think we're really developing students' agency. If we walk into a school and merely see students making choices they were already capable of making, we are giving students a sense of agency, but it's an illusion because all the power still remains with the teacher, with the structure. The only reason the student has that choice is because I gave it to them or the school gave it to them. So the environment is an important element that we need to be offering students opportunities to make decisions. But those decisions, those choices, need to be difficult decisions, difficult choices beyond their current ability. And that's where this idea of the will to act starts to come in. This idea of mindset